All right, so I totally forgot to post that picture of what I look like at the top end of my last bulking phase. So I'm going to go ahead and post that. This is what that mess looked like. And then we obviously had to get rid of all that, and we spent the better part of 2006 doing just that. So from January of 2006 until September of 2006, we went from the high 230s, possibly a few 240s, down to the low 195s, and this is low 90, 190s, 195, somewhere around there. And this is what the physique looked like at that point. And besides the fact that I enjoyed this that look so much better, I think of another big thing for me was that as I was losing all that weight, I was getting stronger, which made me realize that man, I was carrying a bunch of dead weight that I didn't necessarily need. And then on top of that, once I started gaining again after September, once I reached the 195ish mark, yeah, I started to get even stronger, and I'm like, wow, that was just such a waste of time. And but I did learn a few things. I think first of all, I learned that just naturally, because of my frame, I was never going to be one of those really big dudes. Because even when I got down to 195, you know, I based on what I looked like then, I estimated I was about 20 pounds over contest weight. Um, that basically I was never going to be a one of the bigger natural bodybuilders. I just didn't have the frame for that, and you know, trying to keep up with how what other people not necessarily looked like, but you know, trying to be a certain weight was just a huge distraction, and it just more so let me focus on my strong points and what I'm able to do really well. And yeah, so I learned that for sure I can tolerate a longer diet. That at the time I had no idea whether or not I could endure such a thing. So that definitely made me feel a lot more confident in that. Made me feel a lot more confident that what I did have to offer as a physique athlete, you know, could be of some value, and that and just let me, I guess, now that I knew that okay, I wasn't necessarily a big dude, I had these other things that I was good at, and these qualities in my physique that were unique but good. I started to just more so just kind of cherish that, and just focus more so on not necessarily my strong points, but yeah, I just didn't have an identity crisis anymore. I was just more so, you know, doing me, working hard, and progressing without being distracted by what others were doing. So that is what took place then. So we dieted from January till September. Realized that we were just spinning our wheels in some way by just going on these just huge bulking phases, and then I also decided that after going through that long diet that I wanted to try to finally get on stage now. Now that I knew that I could do it, just kind of keep a slightly tighter body composition, and then the very next year, I would actually start my first contest prep, and that's how it got started. So yeah, big lesson learned there is just focus on what I'm doing and focus on my progress, and not necessarily what you know the other person might be doing or what they're looking like. Because again, yeah, it really just is a long race against yourself, and we tend to sidetrack ourselves quite a bit. And that moment that year definitely made me realize that. So yeah, onwards with the training. This is what it looked like this week. Really good training week. Things have just been awesome of late. Healthy and productive, which is all I can really ask for now. But yeah, that is it. We'll get rolling on that. So training has been predictable, and that is no matter how good you get at writing up plans, there's nothing like actually making it happen in practice. So I'm very pleased with that part. that things have been very predictable, especially on this movement, which is, you guys, I think by now might be kind of bored of seeing it, but it's literally been my main leg movement this whole year. And yeah, I think during this set was definitely a PR. So I've gotten personal best when it comes to the heavier loads, the tension stuff, and then also the volume work. So really pleased with how this is coming along. And I really do feel it will show in my legs come next time I diet. I will definitely keep this machine around, even if my squats and deadlifts are just better than ever, just because it's just such a practical way to add volume to your training and not necessarily beat up your torso so much. Like in the same way I keep the seal rows in, because my torso is not the limiting factor when I am trying to progress on my rows. Same thing can be said for that. So I've been using that leg press quite a bit, and then this has been vital in regards to just kind of keeping my glutes in line, keeping them active. It's a movement, the pull throughs, that I don't go too heavy on, but they will also be something that I keep from this point on, as I legitimately think they make a difference. And usually I get about 2 to 3 sets in, 2 to 3 sets of 15 to 20 reps a couple times a week, sometimes up to 3 times a week. But it's definitely helped keep things healthy. So lower body's progressing really well, even though when it comes to like overall volume, it's near. I've never done this little volume for my lower half. And since I've started to use, really focus on vertical pulling, a lot of my horizontal rowing movements have kind of taken a dump. So like this seal row was just awesome a few weeks ago, but now it's kind of plateaued and kind of backsliding a bit. But on most days, it's the second pulling or rowing movement that I do. So that's kind of to be expected. And I do think back thickness has improved quite a bit. It never really was a horrible point, but I want to focus a bit more on width, especially right now that shoulders in general are feeling quite healthy. So back width and then arms, those are the biggest priorities for the remainder of this off season, which can be, as I discussed earlier, and I'll get into more details of this. I might start dieting come June of next year, or if I just don't feel ready, both mentally and from a physique standpoint, and just like if the rest of my life just doesn't necessarily click or synchronize well with it, we'll just keep going a bit longer. But as of now, again, like I think in regards to my off-season progress, it's gone to the point where this might be the shortest off-season I've taken in quite a few years. But at the same time, it's going to be about a year and a half off-season. But at the same time, I'm just getting a lot better at just being more efficient with my off-season time. So yeah, no, everything's been just. I've been very pleased with what I've been able to do, and I think being limited by certain injuries has in some way just helped me discover things that perhaps I wouldn't have otherwise. And one thing, like for example, that leg press has been vital, and I think that for the longest time it was one of those things where I thought with so long as I was squatting in a progressive manner that I was maximizing my leg growth, but I really don't believe that to be true. And this goes for some. And this is in my case where I don't necessarily struggle to find to make my lower body improve. So yeah, I'm definitely in a good spot. Although limited, doesn't mean we've been any less productive this off season. So there's always ways around things, and I've just gotten better at that. And also, again, just gotten better at staying healthy. Anytime I discuss something that is wrong, again, it's something that I did maybe 8-10 years ago, not necessarily in recent times. So lateral raises, because I am a bodybuilder, and that front relax, you're going to spend about half your time on stage doing that pose. So even if you do have pretty good delts, it doesn't hurt to have really, really good delt. So I never really take this movement out of my rotation at all. So that's the bodybuilding side of things. When it comes to the powerlifting, I'm still doing my snatch grip deadlifts, and I think I will continue to do these for, say, another 2-3 months, to the point where perhaps I'm closing in on, doing reps in the 400s, and then I'll kind of tighten things up and make them more powerlifting specific. But again, I feel very safe with this movement, although I'm very limited as to how much weight I can use. I really love the fact that, again, compound movements, a lot of different muscles are working, and there's just so much more working because of the increased range of motion. Again, I don't recommend this for like 95% of people out there. This is something that, given certain specifics of my situation, I think movement fits me really well. But no, I hardly ever program these for anyone, and I don't think most people should be doing them, to be quite honest, just because a lot of range of motion, a lot of things can go wrong. So squatting's also feeling good. I was a bit under the weather this week, so I didn't try to really progress on my squats, just hit more or less the same weight. And, it kind of lost my groove, just was not feeling tight and together, but we didn't break, so that's good news. So yeah, if all goes according to plan, I can definitely see myself doing a powerlifting meet in 4 to 5 months. And again, not necessarily to compete, just to do it. And I just really love the sport and all the cool people I've met via that sport. So yeah, nothing but good things so far, but you know how it goes with this. Next report might be totally different, but as of right now, I'm appreciating the hot streak, not taking it for granted at all. And just going to try to tie it together a couple of these weeks. But yeah, very, very, very good thus far, and hopefully I can end this year just as strong.